Shallow disc manure injection is a new technology that is suitable for the relatively shallow and stony agricultural soils of the northeastern United States. Shallow disc injection provides several benefits. It enables no-till farmers to retain more manure nutrients in their soil, reducing the need for purchased fertilizer. Manure ammonia represents a large portion of the nitrogen in manure. Ammonia is often easily lost by volatilization when manure is surface applied. However, these gaseous losses can be greatly reduced when manure is injected, an important consideration for farmers wishing to conserve more nitrogen for future crops. And this can benefit relationships with neighbors living downwind of fields being manured, as injection will reduce losses of all volatile compounds associated with manure odor. By keeping nutrients on the field and reducing their movement during heavy precipitation events or during snow melt, water quality is protected. Here are some observations of farmers, manure haulers, and researchers who have tried shallow disc injection on the sloped and sometimes stony soils in Pennsylvania.
The soil types and the slopes that we've run on, I actually haven't done anything real steep with them. So as far as soil types, nothing really runs well in rocks. No type of injector is going to go through a rock nice. But sandier soil, it seems to run fine. Slopes, it shouldn't really make much of a difference whether you're on a slope or not, as long as you can keep your injectors balanced.
The initial concern with this project was, can we use this into an application where we had not removed the corn stalks? And the first year we did it that way. We did not chop the corn stalks. We just went into the residue left from the combine the year before. And we're pretty amazed that that unit went through there without a lot of dragging. And that was a concern, and I don't think that's a real issue.
The residues that we have run in have been corn stalks, some cover crop, some bean stubble, and we have found that it works best if it's dry. We ran through some corn fodder that wasn't busted up, it was just standing, and it did build up a little bit on our units. But then we ran through the very similar situation in the spring after everything was dry, and it busted right through it. So some of the drier the residue, the better. It wasn't an issue, it went right through it.
What we're trying to get is a replacement for doing tillage to incorporate our manure. We're doing this so we can go into a no-till situation, and as you can see from the field, we haven't disrupted the soil and any residue cover very much, so we still get our soil erosion control.
Everywhere we've done with it, they have no-tilled after the units. I think some have been as soon as 2 or 3 days after we ran it through, and some have been a little longer, maybe 2-3 weeks. But from what I hear, they were happy with it. They were able to no-till after it with success. I think the crop yields were showing a little improvement where the injection took place.
What we're measuring here, behind us we have our measurement chambers, and we're trying to quantify ammonia emissions from this plot where we've applied manure with the shallow disc injector. In our past measurements, we found about 90% reduction in ammonia losses. It's a pretty simple process actually. Is the more manure that you can get off of the soil surface, the less ammonia is lost.
The injection system may be an advantage if we move to phosphorus-based indexing system where, we can apply less gallons per acre and get the same nitrogen results for growing a crop of corn.
Another feature that we've been looking at with this research is to quantify the nutrient runoff potentials, and injecting again is very helpful for reducing phosphorus and somewhat the nitrogen that comes with runoff water.
I see the potential there is manure definitely keeps going farther and farther, and if you're running it that far, you want to get the most out of your nitrogen and your phosphorus and your potash. You want to get the most out of everything, so if you can put it in the ground and keep it there and still work it in your no-till system, they are definitely farther ahead. As fertilizer prices keep going up and up and up every year, it's getting more and more economical to truck manure down the road a ways and to use this type of equipment.
Again, by putting that manure underground, we're not losing phosphorus in the surface. So, you know, one value is that a farmer using this technology may be able to put manure on a field where the phosphorus index normally would tell them, you know, they either need a reduced rate or no manure at all. But by cutting that runoff with the injection, then they can possibly put some manure down on a site that wouldn't be appropriate for manure with the broadcast application.
I think if we could move the rates lower and keep the phosphorus lower, that could be an advantage down the road if we move to strictly a phosphorus index. So that could be the challenge that all farmers are going to face if and when that happens.
Yeah, with all the new regulations that come out and all the new regs that tell you how many gallons of manure per acre you can spread, with the injection units you can hit those lower rates because you're conserving your nitrogen, so you don't have to broadcast and waste that nitrogen that's going up into the atmosphere. You're putting it all in the ground, which will result in, it'll take more acres, but you'll be getting better bang for your buck.
You know, there could be definitely a reason to do this if we can get, you know, right now we're putting 7,000 to 8,000 gallon surface supply. You know, if we get down to 4,000 gallon and get the same crop of corn, that's another advantage.
If we can retain the nitrogen, you know, we're still learning as we go here, but that's one of the next things that I would look for, is to be able to retain all the nitrogen instead of, because there's some days when you broadcast, especially on a warm day like today, where a lot of your nitrogen just goes in the air.
Maybe you have a situation where you want to apply closer to a residential area. You would have a lot less smell, odor problems with this. I mean, it's next to nothing because it's under the soil.
So as I said, in some of our past work, we were showing reductions in ammonia emissions of about 90%, maybe somewhat less, but I think we're always going to be 60 to 70% less and under any conditions with the injected manure compared to a surface broadcast.
We've experimented with all types of manure. We've ran dairy manure through it, we ran hog manure through it, and we'll be running some duck manure through it. So we've had good success with the hog manure. The dairy manure sometimes gets plugged. That's about the biggest downfall of it, is getting stuff plugged in the units. But other than that, it's been working pretty well for us.
The biggest benefit I see, if is one of the most obvious, is that it's out of sight, it's out of mind, and you know, we can go in and inject. We have some manure that's pretty smelly, and if you inject it, you come back half a day later, you hardly know that anything happened in the field. So that's the biggest thing.
We've used it around developments where odor is an issue, and people just think that injection's the way to go, so we've been injecting it that way. But yeah, every season we've been getting more and more calls about interest in the units.
I'll continue to inject some manure. We have, especially the stuff, it depends on the time of the year, probably more. And probably one of the biggest reasons I would do is for odor management. Just depends which way the air is going when you want to apply it. Why, we do have some houses close by.
The disadvantages of these units are the residue is one, and it does cost a little more to apply. It's a little more time consuming. You can't just go in and haul 50 or 60 loads a day like some people are used to seeing. The units do take more time, but the end result with conserving your nitrogen should overlap that cost or consume that cost of the extra time. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue, but the time is still going to be it's still an issue. That's not going to be the quick spreading, go in, out like you're used to, like some farmers are used to seeing. It'll definitely be a little more time consuming.
I would give it a try, and wouldn't base my results on 1 year. That's a little bit like when I started no-tilling. I didn't base my results on the first year. It's something that I think you need to learn and find out where it fits on your operation. And I would say places that are closest to water or streams, or if you have a residential area close by, consider starting there and working at it from there.
As far as the future of the injection, I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely, like I said, as manure starts to go farther and farther, and the udder units and things like that keep coming around with more and more technology out there and becoming available, it should work, and I think farmers will be happy with the end result of what these units can do.